when most people think of stress, you automatically think of like mental stress or something that you're scared of or fearful of or something that might not get done. And I'm here today is to talk about stress in a different manner and how the body's response to stress can determine whether you have a healthy outcome. So most of the stresses that you guys were talking about are mental stresses, but we have something called nutritional stressors as well. And nutritional stressors can be low energy availability due to micronutrient deficiencies. So if you're not eating a proper amount of fuel for what your body needs, that can become a nutritional stressor. Another nutritional stressor is dehydration. So if you're not properly hydrated, it's more humid, you're not taking the proper amount of fluids, dehydration can be another stressor for your body. Another stressor that we have on the nutritional side has to do with food intolerance. So if you're eating foods that don't agree with your body will go into a stress mode trying to metabolize and digest those foods. Also, highly processed foods, because of the way that they're made, cause a bit of an issue with the stress response to your body. One last nutritional stressor to consider is your thoughts, your emotions, and feelings around food. So if food just stresses you out or gives you anxiety or depression, that also can cause a stress response. And so we'll get into what high stress response does to the body. On the movement side, movement stressors obviously running movement stressors, but the way that we look at movement stressors are the more intensely and more that you move, the more that you have the stressor that you need to recover from. And whether a movement is good or bad is more determined by how we. So if you recover well from your run, recover well from your workout, recover well from any of that stuff, then it's a good stressor. If you don't recover well from it, then it's a bad stressor. So nothing movement-wise in a vacuum can be considered good or bad. Obviously, if you're getting injured, it's bad. But if you're building muscle, building endurance, those types of things, make it a good stressor. So it's all about how you recover from setbacks. The reason why it's a movement stressor is one's energy demands. If you are moving a lot, you're going to use a lot of ATP, which is the main energy source for the body. To deplete your ATP, you need to replenish it. So if your ATP is low, it's going to be hard to have energy to do that you want. Another movement stressor is muscle fatigue. As you get more and more tired, your muscular output decreases more and more. And so muscle fatigue is also a movement stressor. Another movement stressor that we look into are what we call neurological movement stressors, and that's basically, we want to think about inhibition and facilitation. So inhibition neurologically is your brain is shutting down a muscle or movement because of the stress or the pain that's related to it. So in the clinic as a PT, that's what we spend the most time focusing on is muscular inhibition. You can have inhibition from misalignment of positioning of joints, and you can have mechanical stressors where you got chronic inflammation in the area that causes damage to healthy tissue. And so those are some types of movement stressors that cause your body to go into a fight or flight stress recovery mode. Also, anybody familiar with circadian rhythms and what that means? You are either eating too close to when you're supposed to be going to sleep, or exercising intensely when you're supposed to be getting ready to go to sleep. It's going to give you trouble with your circadian rhythms and being able to get good sleep. So if you're exercising intensely or eating within 2 or 3 hours of going to bed, you're going to have trouble sleeping, and you're also going to cause stress to your body because your body's trying to break that food down as you sleep. So all those stressors cause the body's stress response, and the stress response in the body starts with cortisol. Who's familiar with cortisol, what it does? Mm-hmm. So all those different factors of stress that we just talked about, those are all going to cause higher levels of cortisol. Cortisol needs to decrease in the evening so that you can get ready to go to sleep. So if your cortisol levels stay super high, it's going to be hard for you to get a good night's sleep. It's going to be hard for you to recover. Cortisol also causes increased retention of body fat and raises your blood sugar, makes you more insulin resistant. And so as you go through life, whether it's perimenopause, menopause, or the male version of it is andropause, if you are having high cortisol levels, it's going to be very hard for you to get good sleep, burn fat, and systemically throughout your body. It's going to be harder to heal from stress, from injury, and all of those factors have a big impact on your sleep. Sleep is the gold standard for recovery because everything that you want to do from a metabolic process happens while you're sleeping. Sleep helps our bones form, it helps us repair tissue, helps get rid of inflammation, clears waste products from our body and from our brain. So if you're not getting the right type of sleep, you're going to accumulate more cortisol, you're going to accumulate more inflammation, and your body's not going to repair the way that it needs to for you to fully recover and be ready for the next event. And so, a lot of times, segue into sleep. So a lot of times, the recommendations for sleep, people are saying to optimize your health, they're saying make sure you get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Everybody's heard that, right? Like that's the key, is 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I'm here to tell you that while 7 to 9 hours of sleep is important, that's not what's most important when it comes to sleep. What's most important when it comes to sleep is the quality and the efficiency of your sleep. Because you can sleep for 10 hours and still wake up with brain fog, feeling groggy. You can sleep for 6 hours and wake up feeling great. And what that has to do is the stages of sleep. You have light sleep, you have deep sleep, you have REM sleep, and then you have periods during your sleep cycle where your body's awake, even though you don't feel awake, your brain is awake. And you get 7 to 9 hours of light sleep, or you're waking up constantly, then you're not going to feel refreshed and recovered in the morning, and you're going to have trouble processing. You're going to want to take a lot of caffeine to get going. You're going to feel really groggy. You're going to be very ungiven. So what's important with sleep is getting REM sleep and getting deep sleep. Deep sleep is the phase where the body does all the repair. So if you have injuries, you're not getting deep sleep, it's going to be hard to repair those injuries, even if you're seeing a physical therapist or a doctor, or you get a steroid injection, or you're doing whatever you can to relieve the pain, if you're not sleeping, your body's not actually repairing that as efficiently as it could be. So you need deep sleep for muscle repair and tissue repair. You got osteoporosis or osteopenia. You need deep sleep for bone remodeling. So if you're not sleeping well, then you're gonna have trouble. You get a DEXA scan or you do your bone density, it's gonna show lower levels than it should. And so that can be remedied by sleeping better. As far as for our REM sleep is very important for hormones. So testosterone for men, estrogen for women. If you're not getting REM sleep, that's where your highest concentration, your peak hormone levels happen during REM sleep. Also, REM sleep is important for your memory consolidation. So if you're not getting REM sleep, it's going to cause you to be forgetful. It's going to cause you to have low estrogen levels, have low T levels, and all of the effects that those hormone deficiencies have. When you're not getting the proper amount of sleep, your hypothalamus will signal to your adrenal glands and to your sex hormones that to shut off production. So if you're getting hormone replacement therapy, but you're not sleeping, you're kind of just in a hamster wheel that's kind of spinning around. You're not actually going to improve your hormones long term if you're not sleeping, because the treatment that you're getting requires REM sleep to be able to synthesize and produce the way that it's supposed to. So yeah, when it comes to sleep cycles, like I said, you get more of those amounts, whether you get the hours in your light sleep, don't matter as much. And so what's important is making sure that the phases that you're getting are those phases. And so, I don't know how many people here have had, say 9 or 10 hours of sleep, you don't feel great. But if you had 4 or 5 hours of sleep, you feel amazing. Chances are, if you get track, chances are you got the deep sleep and the REM sleep. So, any questions on any of that stuff? Why, how, stressors, different types of stressors. There are many more, and those are just the ones that are more impacted by running and movement. But yeah, it's all about your response, and any stress can be considered a good stress if your body handles it the right way. Any stress can be considered a bad stress if it doesn't. So if somebody runs a marathon because they've been training for a marathon, that's a good stress for them. You've been training for a half and you run a full, and it's a bad stress. So it's not about the activity in a vacuum. It's about how your body interprets that stimulus. And so a lot of times when you run with injuries, you run with injuries for a super long time, it has a downstream effect that you don't really consider. And so if you've got chronic things, then it's best to address them while they're minor, before they turn into something more major, something more long term, which can hamper other aspects of your performance. Question?
What would you suggest for us as runners and walkers to help with keeping our cortisol, like controlling it?
So to keep it under control, you need to make sure that you know what your macronutrient needs are, what your micronutrient needs are, making sure you're eating the proper stuff for your body everybody's, we all share recommendations, but each person's metabolism and body handles stuff differently. So what works for you might not work for you. You have to really dial into your specific physiology and biology. Also, when it comes to stress response, things like meditation, yoga. So yoga, Pilates, those types of movement activities that are more parasympathetic in nature and they're more relaxing, that's going to give you an opportunity to move your body, but also recover. So if recovery for you doesn't sound like sitting on the couch, then yoga, Pilates, things like that are a good stress reliever from muscle fatigue, brain fatigue, all those different things. So making sure you're eating proper diet, nutrients. Make sure you know if you've got things that you eat that you're intolerant to, making sure that you're staying away from those, and being able to move the way that you being able to move in other ways that don't cause your heart rate to raise and cause cortisol to accumulate. Also, sleep. More important than any of that is the sleep work. So if you can get your deep sleep, get your REM sleep, then you're going to be able to recover better from everything. I would say I track my sleep on my watch, and the past year and a half, the hours that I've slept has not changed in years, but my sleep scores have gone up 30 to 40 points because while I'm sleeping, I'm getting the right amount of phases of sleep that I'm supposed to get. Instead of previously, I was in more of a light sleep phase where most of my 6, 7, 8 hours was light sleep. Now I'm getting deep sleep, I'm getting REM sleep, and so my brain, my body feels fully recovered. I don't have soreness when I work out or when I play basketball. Things that used to bother me don't bother me, and it's all related to managing stress and managing inflammation. And one of the things that people don't really consider is the impact of inflammation on your body. Inflammation wreaks havoc everywhere. It causes you to retain fat, causes your brain to not work properly, causes injury, causes lack of recovery from stressful events, and causes you to gain body fat and lose muscle. And so not dealing with inflammation or trying to deal with inflammation with anti-inflammatories consistently instead of actually targeting the root of it can cause you have a higher stress response.
And so you have stuff there at your clinic that can help those of us who don't sleep very well.
So these days, we've got stuff in the office. We've also developed the ability to do a lot of what we do in the office. We can do remotely or virtually as well.
Oh, that's right.
It's been very important as I recognize people are busy. People have kids, people have jobs, you have your workouts, you have your runs. Sometimes it's very difficult to get to an office regularly. So we built out programs for sleep, stress, metabolic health, recovery that don't necessarily involve coming into the office.
Oh, very good.
To that end, on April 8th, we will be releasing a new service. It's called Campus Motion Injury 24/7. Essentially, if you have any injury that you have, you can be assessed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So the reason why we're implementing this is a lot of folks get hurt and maybe they're in pain, but it's not enough pain to call them to want to set a doctor's appointment or PT appointment or rearrange their schedule. And so we want to lower the threshold for you to seek answers to what's going on. And if it needs to escalate, it can. But basically, the way it'll work is you download the app, and if you're injured, you'll get on the app and report your injury, and we'll respond to you within 2 to 3 minutes. And follow the prompts and let us, take pictures of your injury, describe it, take a video. So it's all virtual, and it's totally free. And so hopefully that gets people in the mindset of addressing these things early on before they turn into something where you have to stop running, or you got to see us for 2 months or 3 months. Because, to be honest with you, the longer you wait to address it, the longer it's going to take to get better. So if something starts hurting last week, address it this week, you're going to be better. So you wait 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, it's going to take longer. Because that tissue, as I just described, the stress response, you have that information for a long time. Not been sleeping, you've had stress too because you're still doing your stuff. And so, people want to know how fast they're going to get better. It's all these other factors that are involved in it, not just, it's weak or it's tight or I need to rest. Like, there's all these other things that are involved. So hopefully that gives people the chance to engage in what's going on earlier before it turns into something super chronic.
Nice.
We saw everyone for 1 or 2 visits for 1 week. That would be amazing. It doesn't happen because people don't seek answers until it's happened for a long time. Hopefully, it's a lower threshold. It's free. You do it from your house. You do it from wherever, and get some answers. And know if you do need to pursue anything more, or if it's something that you can get resolved right away. So yeah, next Tuesday we are going live. We'll have more information on that. QR codes, download the app, stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Question?
Anything?
Taking naps helps after for recovery?
Not really, because most of the time when you take a nap,
Well,
you don't sleep long enough to get into the phases of sleep that we're talking about. And also, naps are usually outside of your circadian rhythm, so you're fighting your body's natural urge to be awake. You're sleeping at 3 p.m. Your body's not thinking, I'm preparing for bed. You know anything about, like I said, cortisol and melatonin. So cortisol is supposed to drop. Melatonin is supposed to increase at the same time.
With the light.
Correct. So when you sleep, when it's light outside, it messes that up. And so you may feel tired and you may take a nap because you feel tired. But when it comes to the overall recovery process, you aren't actually helping your body with inflammation, with brain fog, all those types of things. Obviously, you're super tired earlier in the day. It's most likely because you didn't get the right amount of sleep or rest the night before, and you're like trying to catch up. So you're in deficit and you're trying to catch up versus being proactive and actually getting judgment. So you probably would benefit more by doing, instead of taking a nap, you're doing like meditation or yoga or sauna, red light, something that's causing recovery to happen throughout your body, because the sleep part of the recovery part that's related to sleep, that's not going to happen until you get into night circadian.
Very cool. What's most important with sleep is to, as best you can, try to get to sleep at the same time and wake up at the same time as often as you can. So if that's 11 o'clock is your time, then
try to get to bed as close to 11 as possible, whether that's 10:30, 11:45, or whatever. But you usually go to bed at 11 and then you stay up till 2. That's going to throw you off. That's way outside of the normal. Same on wake up. You wake up at 6 or 7 and you wake up at 10. That's going to throw everything off because it's a big difference than what you're used to. And so even on days you work or don't work, try to wake up and go to sleep within basically an hour to 2 hours of what you normally do. So if you're a night owl and 12 or 12 in the morning or 1 a.m. is your sleep time, but that's when you're always sleeping and you're waking up at 7 or 8, that's fine. As long as you're following your body's natural clock and you're not going against what you're doing. Any other questions? So supplements can be helpful when it comes to sleep. The issue is over-reliance on supplements usually takes away. Same with medications, supplements. They're usually substituting for something that your body's supposed to do already that it's not doing. And if you don't actually get to the root cause of why your body's not doing it, and you just rely on the supplement, then you pretty much have to take the supplement forever, because as soon as you stop taking it, you're going to lose that aid. So you can take your supplements to get you jump started, but in the long run, you have to address whatever limitations are causing your restrictions. So what may be causing you to not sleep well is different than you. It's different than you. It's different than you. And so you go to ChatGPT and say, "How can I sleep better?" Like all of you are gonna get the same list of things, and what you actually need is different for everybody. It's unique to your situation. So you may need to go to bed earlier. You may need to wake up later. You may need to recover from your run better. So it's all different stuff that causes it. And so supplements can help, but we want to address why you need that supplement, and that's the way to fix it holistically, is to look at the big picture and address where your deficiencies are.
Right.
By the way, I'm a certified sleep stress recovery coach.
Awesome.
Definitely I'm a PT, love seeing patients, but like I said earlier, the picture is way bigger than just I heard I need to do this to recover from that injury. It's such a big picture, and so as time goes on, we just incorporate more and more into basically a well-rounded recovery and response to what's going on. And so there's a circle of things: metabolic health, movement health, sleep health, recovery. They're all interconnected, and so you pretty much have to have all of them dialed in to stay well. It's just some people have different issues at different points with different aspects of that. So we have to identify what that is and address it. And sometimes it does start with the injury that's happened. Sometimes it's the diet and sleep and all these other stuff that you have that turns into. You need to get identified where it's at. While we do recover from the injury, we have to address whatever may have led to it. So it's all about getting to the root cause and addressing it. Do that, you don't have to take as many supplements.
Very nice. Anybody else? Questions? Thank you so much, Dr. O. Appreciate it.